Assalamu alaikum. This is Altaf Hussain. This time I'm coming to you from Chicago. So Yasser hit me up for an early morning reminder right before my flight, and what comes to mind was really from an incident that occurred maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago in Washington D.C., whereby the weather really turned bad, and subhanAllah, I was driving home from Washington D.C., from Howard University in D.C. to Virginia, and what usually is an hour commute took me about 7 hours to get home. And I started thinking about the amount of time we spend in our cars and how that could really be a mercy from Allah in terms of making adhkaar and remembering Him. And He tells us in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Fadhkuruni adhkurkum washkuruli wala takfurun, that you who believe, remember me, and I will remember you, and give thanks to me, and do not indeed be among those who are who cover the faith and who are the wala takfurun, and don't, basically be among those who are disobedient to Allah and those who would reject His message. So in the car, one of the things that you can do right from the beginning is think about the ride you have, think about what's going to happen when whatever your destination is, and then work backwards and think, do I have enough time to maybe recite, review some of the Quran that I'm memorizing, or maybe do I have time today to make some adhkaar? And then you can go into that, and you can basically try to structure your time so that it's not taken up by a lot of vain talk, or a lot of times people get on the phone just because they're in the car and they have a phone, and then they're thinking, I should call up some people. Well, probably they're in the middle of something. You should be focusing on something else and driving anyway, and not talking on the phone while driving if you don't have a hands-free device. But at least you should try to remember Allah, and one of the ways to do it is to really just get into a routine whereby you don't let that routine be interrupted by outside things. And so if you can focus on that, then the second part of that verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu asta'inu bis-sabri was-salah, that inna Allaha ma sabirin, that, O you who believe, seek the assistance or seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with patience and perseverance, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed with those who are patient. Why that's critical is that oftentimes also we don't leave enough time to get to our destinations. So we'll be in the car trying to rush somewhere, and we're trying to make some kind of response, or make some kind of outcome occur even before it's time. So we want to try to do basically focus on that and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to us here, let's focus and let's have patience. Let's know that the outcome is in the hands of Allah. So if you leave on time, if you already have been thinking about the adhkaar before you get in the car, you know how much time you need to get to where you're going, leave enough time for traffic jams or everything else, then inshallah you'll be driving safely. A lot of times you guys are on the road doing a lot of volunteer work, coming home sometimes late at night from meetings or events. We want you to be careful. We want you to, inshallah, protect yourself and other people on the road. And one way to do that is if you're in the remembrance of Allah and seeking His help, and constantly surrounding yourself with this sort of adhkaar, as the Prophet ﷺ taught us, even subhanallah, alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar are light on the tongue but very heavy in the scales, in our scales, inshallah, of good deeds. So I'll leave you with that reminder, and since summer is coming up, it's important for you to make some time for reflection on how the year went by. What did you accomplish in terms of your personal life, your Islamic developmental life? What were you trying to get done? What weren't you able to do? How can you make that up, inshallah? Get ready and try to do some practice fasts. Mondays and Thursdays are great. The summer months are going to be when the Ramadan hits, and you don't want to be stuck on the first day of Ramadan having never practiced it. So take time to do that, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.